I'm just going to answer a few questions for you right now. Chapter 12, Section 2, Basic Operations with Complex Numbers. The first one is question number 31. Pretty interesting looking. And it says, perform the indicated operation. So the big thing, I would say, that to do this division problem is it might be better if we rearrange this and put the -5 first and then the j times the square root of 2 second, so that the real part is first and the imaginary part is second. Same thing in the denominator. Let's put the 3 first and then plus j times the square root of 2. Now I'm doing that because I have to multiply by the conjugate of the denominator. The conjugate of this denominator is 3 minus j times the square root of 2. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom, because then I'm essentially multiplying by 1 by that value. And so in my denominator, when I FOIL this, 3 times 3 is 9. I'm not going to write this term down and this term down because they're the same, but they're opposite in sign. And then finally, the last terms, this positive j times the square root of 2, and then a minus j times the square root of 2. When you multiply these j's together, you get a minus j squared. And the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the number 2. Because the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 4, which is 2. So this denominator becomes 9. Remember this minus this, -1. So minus a -1 times 2. So that's going to be 9 plus 2. So the denominator is going to be 11. Upstairs, I've got a FOIL. These, I'm going to try to erase here. I'm going to FOIL these two binomials. So a -5 times 3 is a -15. A -5 times a minus j is a positive 5j times the square root of 2. Then this positive j times 3 is 3j times the square root of 2. And then finally the last terms, this positive times this negative, j times j is a minus j squared, and the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is 2. So again, remember this, this minus 2j squared right here becomes a plus 2 to be combined with this minus 15. So that's a minus 13. And then this 5j times the square root of 2 and this 3j times the square root of 2 adds up to be 8j times the square root of 2. And all of that is over 11. Our author might write that as 1 over 11 times a -13 plus 8j times the square root of 2. Or the author might write it as a -13 over 11 plus 8j square root of 2 over 11. This is question number 35. I may have to pause in a minute. Hopefully I won't get called. That was dinner that was cooking and my husband's burning the house down. So this denominator, I need to multiply by the conjugate, which would be 1 plus j, top and bottom. So downstairs, this 1 times 1 would be 1. Again, we forget about these two. And then these two multiplied to be a minus j squared, which means plus 1, because j squared is a -1. So the denominator for this one is 2. Upstairs, I have 4j times 1, which is 4j. And if you don't mind, 4j times j is 4j squared, and that 4j squared I'm going to eventually cross off and call that a -4. And you know, I'll go ahead and finish with that. That -4 divided by this 2 would be a -2, and this 4 divided by this 2 would be a plus 2j, and we've got the first fraction cleaned up. I have to do the same thing with the second fraction, so I'm going to multiply by 2 minus 3j, top and bottom. So first I'm going to FOIL the denominator because I find that easier. So 2 times 2 is 4. And then right here I have a minus 9j squared, which would give me a plus 9. So that's 4 plus 9. Or I have a 13 in this one's denominator. When I multiply this binomial times this binomial, j times 2 is 2j. This will be a little out of order. J times a minus 3j will be a minus 3j squared. 8 times 2 will be 16, and 8 times a minus 3j will be a minus 24j. So I have right here this, which is a positive 3, and this positive 16, which combines to be 19. And 2j minus 24j is a minus 22j, all divided by the common denominator of 13. So what a bummer. I have to take this negative 2 plus 2j and subtract this fraction, 19 minus 22j over 13. So I have to cause these to have a denominator of 13. So in order to do that, I've got to multiply those. I'd like to do it in red. I'd like to multiply those by the fraction 13 over 13 because right now they each have a denominator of 1. And I'm going to write these all out now in fractional form. So this 13 times a negative 2 would be a negative 26 over 13. This 13 times a positive 2j would be 26j over 13. Over here, I'm going to distribute this minus sign times both of these terms in this numerator. So the minus the 19 over 13, and then minus this negative would be plus 22j over 13. Finally, I'm going to take these, which are like terms, a minus 26 and a minus 19 would be a minus 45 over 13. I'm just pausing to check that for a minute. Yeah, that looks right. And then 26j plus 22j would be 48j over 13. Again, either leave it like this, or maybe I'm pretty sure the author will probably pull out that 1/13 and write this as 45 plus 48j. I don't think that can be reduced. You know, I'm not checking my answers. Hopefully I'm not making any small errors as I move along here. I know my process is correct, but who knows about my adding and subtracting, multiplying and dividing in my head.